Well, back in the kitchen here, and I have a pot full of a white powder. Most might think this is flour, but this is actually Epsomite, which has been collected from the mines. Here's the bag, and I had this sitting around and been trying to figure out what to do with it. So I'm thinking I'm gonna put a little bit in this old bottle here because it's kind of neat looking, and add it to the other collection of old bottles. And for the remainder of what's in there, I was thinking of trying to make Epsom salts, bath salts. So, not for eating, but for actual bathing and hand washing purposes. Up here in the Greek mountains, it gets pretty dry, so hopefully this will be good for the hands. Anyways, yeah, let's get started. After making a small little dust arm, I have a bottle. Don't mind the staining that's on the inside of the bottle. Of pure Epsomite, semi-pure. I went through with a little strainer screen, this guy here, before I went through the funnel. Turns out there was a lot of little rocks and stuff. This stuff, so Epsomite is sort of hair-like stuff that just oozes out of the what's the word for it? It doesn't leach, but yeah, I guess it does. It sort of leaches out of the rocks with moisture. So it takes a good amount of the rock with it. And then also, I mean, I'm some schmuck on rope with a bag just scooping it up. So yeah, I got great big handfuls of it. But this stuff's pretty pure as far as I can tell. So for the rest of this, I think I'm going to screen it out a little bit more, see if I can get most of the rocks out. And then I think I'm going to add water and then try and heat it up. And that'll remove the water. And I'm hoping at that point it'll form crystals, which should be Epsom salt crystals, since this is Epsomite. So, and then I was just thinking about Epsomite it's like a manganese or magnesium dioxide or something like that. So if it's got magnesium in it, I was thinking it'd be kind of fun to try and see if I could get that to precipitate out and get a small chunk of magnesium. That'd be awesome. So yeah, let's play around with this. Alright, so I was sitting there, I was going through there with the screen, kicking up enough dust to, destroy my lungs. And after thinking about it for a little bit, the Epsomite is water soluble, and these rocks are not. So I figured I'd just fill it up with water, and of course all the rocks are just going to sink to the bottom. And now I just need to get these guys out of here, and yeah, should be good. There's this sort of, I guess, like a scum that's come up to the surface. So I don't know what exactly that is. I'm trying to make sure it mixes in case it's just surface tension keeping some of it from entering solution. So yeah, I'm going to sort of mix this around a little bit, and then I'll pull out all this rocks and stuff. The one interesting thing, so when you're in the mines have there's like a sort of aroma to them. It's kind of hard to describe unless you've been in one. But this stuff, this is what they smell like. They smell like Epsomite and minerals and old wood and oil and all sorts of. It's an interesting mixture of scents. But just kicking this up in the air, it's kind of nostalgic. It's like, I feel like I'm underground, So, anyways, yeah, let's see if I can get most of this stuff. Get the Epsomite into solution. I hope I have enough water here for the amount that I had. And then this stuff it looks a little bit, I don't know, it looks like it's mostly, here's the stuff that I sifted out dry. And of course I'm sure that's got a fair bit of Epsomite in it. So what I might do is I might stick this guy in a jar and then rinse it several times just to get the remainder out, because I'm sure there's still a little bit sticking to them. So yeah, I'll try that, and then I'll put the pot on the stove and get this sucker heating. Well, going from clean kitchen to a mess very quickly here. I tried scooping it out onto a plate, and then that wasn't working so great. And then tried using the screen, and that also wasn't working real great. So then I figured if it's water soluble, it should already be in solution. So just pour off the water, let the heavies sink to the bottom, and there you go. So this is a couple rinses later, and this is what I'm left with on the bottom. And I don't think this is, I think this is just rock and stuff. So I'm going to set this stuff aside, let it dry. And then, yeah, put this stuff back into the pot, heat it up, and we'll see what we get. And this is also very similar to the way that you get potash or potassium from soda ash, I believe it is. Soda ash? Yeah, I think it's soda ash. So if you take, ash, mix it with water, remove the solids, take that water, boil it, basically what's left should be potash. So this is very similar to that. And so, yeah, we'll see what we get here. Okay, pot's been cleaned out, sludge has been sort of dumped, dry goods there. So I'm going to pour these guys back into the pot, even with the scum on the top, because I don't know if that contains... I don't know. I was sitting there trying to scoop it away, and it didn't seem to go away, so... yeah, maybe I might try separating it off. But anyways, I'm going to get this guy heating up, and we'll see what we get. Okay, she's cooking. Now just let her sit, and hopefully make sure this doesn't become a rolling boil, because that will, yeah, that'll make a mess everywhere. Nothing like spilled mine soup all over the stove. So, yeah, we'll see what comes out of this. Also, note, don't use a pot that you like. This is an El Crapo thing that I actually got this for free. Somebody was throwing it out, saw it at the curb. I was like, yeah, I could always use a chemistry pot for junk work. So, yep. Oh, there might be a little bit of moisture on the bottom. Yep. Alright, so she's boiling pretty good right now. I took some of that scum off the top. And one thing I was thinking about is the liquid, after I had separated out from, at least the large solids, was kind of brown in color. And, well, like a gray brown, but it looked like it had a lot of silt and clays in it. And coming back over here, I noticed that this guy is sort of, it looks like it's starting to stratify out. So I wonder if letting it sit would have been a better solution. This stuff was at the very bottom of this, and this is, I think these are just really fine particles. So, yeah, I mean, it's coming out of rock. So the host rock is going to leave all sorts of minerals and different things in it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I was looking online trying to figure out how to precipitate out the magnesium and leave everything else. And the old interweaves wasn't really giving me a solution. I did find out that apparently this stuff is used for making paper. It's used for several chemicals. It's used a lot in the chemical industry. What else was it used for? It's used as an organic fertilizer. It's used, of course, for Epsom salts and whatnot. So you could use it for taking a bath. And I don't think you necessarily need to make it, crystallize like this into a salt to use it for a bath. So I was thinking, like, you could probably just put this in a bathtub, and this would be, that's about all you'd need, really. Get that stuff out of there. Anyways, she's got a bit of a roll and boil going. We'll see how long it takes to get most of the moisture out of this. There's a lot of water. I did one hell of a rinse. Yeah, probably shouldn't have added so much. Whatever, we'll see what happens. So water level's definitely dropping. It's going down. I mean, as you'd expect, I'm boiling off a lot of the moisture. You can see all the steam coming off of it. And a couple of things that I'm seeing that look like a good sign is all the little droplets that are bouncing out and hitting the stove and, of course, evaporating off. They're very they're white little droplets, which would indicate that there's sort of Epsomite in them. So it's a good sign. The one thing that's got me worried is all this steam is going up into the air onto my cabinets and into the whole freaking house. On the good side, at least it's it's pretty dry up here, so the humidity's fairly welcome. The other thing I noticed is just holding my hands over it, and it's sort of like a facial. Once the sort of humidity or the moistness of the hands wears off, they are pretty soft, and I usually have rough hands, so yeah, I think this is working. This is going somewhere. So depending on how well this works, if I get, you know, decent looking crystals or if I just get nasty mud at the bottom, that'll determine if I decide to boil off the rest of this as well. So we'll see. Well, getting close now. About maybe 1.25 inches of water at the bottom, with of course the magnesium sulfide in it. So I was looking into it a little bit more, and I haven't taken chemistry in a while, so pardon me if I screw this up. But it's the formula, I believe, is MgSO4. So what I'm thinking is, with this stuff here, instead of boiling it, if I was to add hydrogen peroxide, so that's H2O2, I wonder if I could get it to where the extra oxygen would bond with the magnesium, so I'd get a magnesium oxide or magnesium dioxide, and then the SO4, if I could get that to become H2SO4, which is just sulfuric acid, I could magnesium oxide. I know how to get that to precipitate out. That's doable. I've been able to find literature on that online. So that might be an option for this guy. I don't know. I'll have to look into that a little further before I go wasting my hydrogen peroxide, though. But yeah, this guy's getting close. We'll see what happens as it gets down to the very end here. Okay, so I discovered that a blunder has been made. So as I was stirring it, I took out a little bit. Let's see if I can get this to show up over here. If you let it sit just a little bit, you'll notice that there's a sort of some solids in there. I think that's clay and silt that's mixed in. And I think the rolling boil is sort of kicking it up. Yeah, see that there? So like I could kind of pour out some of the liquid. And this stuff in here, that looks like silt or sand or more of that rock. So I don't want that. That's not what I'm looking for here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it off. Well, I've already turned it off. And I'm gonna let it, oh, you could already see it sort of starting to separate there. I'm gonna let it sit for a while and see if I can get the two to separate out. I can use a siphon to get the clear, or the basically the in solution magnesium sulfate out, and then leave behind this clay stuff, because if I let this run long enough to start crystallizing, I think I'm going to get bits of clay and stone and rock particulate into the crystals, which is something I'd like to avoid. So yeah, let's give that a go. Well, sure as shit, let her sit, and yeah, looks like it's settled out. And same with this one, although there's a layer of scum on the top. So I think I'm going to pour this off, get rid of that crap in the bottom, and then put it back in and then finish the boiling process. And yeah, we'll see what we got left after that. Well, it's the next day, and as you can see, I've managed to get this solution much, much clearer. And the secret was letting it sit overnight and sort of settle out. And then I've just been dumping it back and forth between these three bowls to leave all the sediment at the very bottom. So I got, this stuff seems pretty clear here. You can see all the way to the bottom of the pot pretty easily. I hope the phone's picking it up. But yeah, this stuff's pretty clear. I got a little bit of water on the bottom of the pot that's sizzling. But yeah, I think I'm going to try reducing this down. I got a good feeling. This looks like the right kind of purity to get some nice looking crystals. I also noticed that just on the bottom of this, well, you can't see them anymore, but I left this bowl basically dry overnight, and crystals had formed on the bottom. So yeah, that's we're gonna concentrate this down and see what we get. Well, we're getting close now. I don't know if you could see it, but it's a good quantity of crystal growth right around the edge there. So probably means I'm coating the damn cabinets with it, but whatever. I'll get a fume hood for this place eventually. Anywho, she's pretty close. I'm thinking I'll get it down to maybe 1/4 inch of water, which it'll be a pretty well saturated or concentrated solution. And then I think I'll just let it sit, let the crystals grow out of it from there. So Yeah, a little bit more to go. Well, got her back on the stove again, and you can see it's a sort of a crystallized slush. Got on a really low heat. I think I got on 2. So yeah, I guess I'll just let this sit here until it dries out, basically. I mean, I don't want to boil it because I'm worried that might... I don't know what would happen if you cook the crystals. Probably not great. Likely not horrible. I mean, take salt, for instance. You can actually get salt to an almost molten stage and it still remains sodium chloride. So, I don't know. I'll just let this sit here and, yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, heating it up again, yeah, it's kind of working like crap. It's reconstituted into a slush now. And it's, I don't know, sort of reminds me of a super saturated solution. So, and when you take it out, it almost instantly forms crystals on stuff. So you think if you heat it up, you'd remove all the moisture from it, and then it would solidify, but I guess that's not the case. Huh. Well, maybe I'll let it go a little longer, and then I'll take it off the heat and see if I can get it to solidify. Well, I raised the heat a little bit. It's doing this interesting thing. The outer surface skims over, forms sort of a, skin, but the heat is, it's boiling off the moisture, so yeah, it's sort of got this big old bubble on it. Let's see if I can pop it. Well, kinda. As soon as you pop it, it immediately sort of falls back in. So I think I'm removing the moisture. I don't know. I turned off the heat for now. I'm gonna let it kind of sit like this. I think what needs to happen, it has to sit at room temperature and lose the moisture like that. Because heating it is, I don't know. This doesn't look like what I was expecting it to look like. Well, after several weeks, this is the final product here. It's kind of funny, it pretty much turned back into what it was before at the very start, although hopefully it's pretty pure. I think I'm gonna put it in the little bottles and then give it away to friends and whatnot, people who take baths. That way they can try it out, see how it works. If it works really well, maybe I might try and go back and get a few more bags of this stuff. So, anyways, it was an interesting little experiment. I still have a jar of the fluid left, just the liquid state. You can see more of the sediment settled out of it. So I might try and get the magnesium out of that. But anyways, yep, that should do her.